Good afternoon, everyone. This is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou. Well, today, you should probably pull up a chair and bring your beverage of choice and get comfy, because this is going to be a rather lengthy video. I have got a lot of work to do on my plants, and with spring having sprung a little early in my house, I've got quite a few plants that need to be repotted. They're growing like crazy, and I'm okay with that, but I'm getting a little overwhelmed because there's so many that need my attention, like yesterday. So I'm going to get done what I can today, and hopefully a couple more days this week, but today's probably going to be the longest. The first thing I want to talk about is this. And I'm going to pull this up on my phone because I want to make sure I get this right. Oh, and I need to let you guys know, I finally figured out how to use my new editing system. The part where you put the text on the picture itself. Now, my old editing system, it took me about an hour to figure it all out, and once I had it, it was a simple procedure, so I didn't have to keep doing something over and over wrong before I got it right, so it was easy to remember. Well, that program, unfortunately, was no longer available, and, well, it was, but I had to pay for it. And I don't like ordering computer programs over the internet, so I got nervous. Well, then, lo and behold, I go and look, and here, my Windows, I guess it was provided by, went and put up a new program. Well, it's not new, because I was doing research on it, and it's a Movie Maker, and I guess there's different versions, but anyways, I'm getting too long here. I just want to let you know that that version was a lot harder than the one I used to use. So I never had the brain power or the time or the energy to sit and do what I needed to do to figure it out. But I finally did the other day, and I got it. Yay. I think, well, let's put it this way. I got it yesterday or the day before, but I'm hoping I'll remember today when I go to record this, download this to YouTube. I really like it when I can put the names of the plants on the screen, because I know that I never used to think it was all that important, but I know there's a lot of you out there that are just starting out, and that it would be very helpful. I know my daughter even has asked me, can't you put the names of the plants on there? I said, well, I could if I knew how. So, Trisha, if you're watching, this one's for you, my dear. And keep your fingers crossed that when I go to edit this, that I remember how I did it. But I'll give it my best. But, all right, moving on. This plant, this was a cutting that I got from Suzette's Gardens quite a while ago. And it should, in all fairness, it should be a lot bigger than it is. But I just couldn't find a spot where it was happy. And I finally did, and then it took off, but it got tall and leggy, as you can see. And maybe you can't. I want to keep the focus right here because this is where I'm going to be working, but I might have to move the camera, I guess. I don't know. And that's the other thing. When you don't do this on a regular basis, you lose your touch. So I really wish that I'd love to bring you guys videos, at least 2 a week, if not 3. And if I could do that, I'd have this camera thing down pat, but whatever. Enough apologizing. This plant I saw on Summer Rain Oaks, and I just love her channel. She's very, very knowledgeable. And she called it a stenanthe. So then I got confused because I thought that's not the name that I have on my plant. I have Lubersii. So I looked it up, and as it turns out, they're both right. It's a stenanthe. Well, actually, it's a Steinanthe liberciana, or it's also called a Stromanthe liberciana, or a Calathea libercii. Now I looked on here and I don't see, they do not differentiate between those three plants. They're just showing one plant, and I'm not sure if I can show you this. I hope it's okay for me to show you this, and I hope that you can see the plant. Now you can see there's a lot more detail and a lot more variegation on those leaves. So I'm not sure if I'm not doing something right, or if this is the one of the three that just doesn't get as dark. And I guess I could ask Susie, she would know too. So, but anyway, so I saw her, when I saw Summer Rain repotting this, I was a little surprised, because she said all you gotta do is cut it and stick it back in the soil. Well, I do that with a lot of plants, but I didn't think it would work with this one. I was really surprised and excited at the same time, because that's going to make it a lot easier for me to have a big, full, bushy plant, which is what I'm after. So all you have to do is, and I'm not sure where I want to cut at this point, and keeping in mind that I'm still possibly struggling with thrips. I think I got rid of them, but I'm very careful if I send a plant out to my daughter that it's been potted in brand new soil and treated, and absolutely no signs of those thrips, because they're horrible to get rid of. But I think we did. I think they're gone, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm not sure where I want to cut this. I think I'm going to do it right here above this leaf. And I'm thinking you can see that there. That would make sense to me. Yeah, and then I'll have all the stem to put in the soil. And keeping in mind my dollar store clippers, these are getting kind of dull. I should really open my new package. My granddaughter went there and got me 5 more pair of these, which should last me for at least 5 years. But for $1, folks, I mean, you can't go wrong. And they lock. So they fit in my holder really nice. They're not dull, but I can tell that they are getting there. And it's always good to use a sharp tool when you're working, especially with plants. And I also sprayed this with rubbing alcohol, and then I dried it. You never want to leave that. You don't want to use these without spraying them, because you don't know on the last plant what you may have had on there as far as disease. Now I don't keep respraying them as I'm working here. Mostly because I know that none of these plants are sick. At least I don't believe they are. But when I first pull them out of my toolbox, yes, I spray them. Okay, and then I'm going to use this. And I also wipe this off with a paper towel with a little rubbing alcohol spray. I got a bottle made up with that. And I'm going to dig down in here, make a hole. Just loosening up the soil a little bit. I've started to get in the habit of this, because for some reason the soil they're selling nowadays really wants to pack down after a while. And I mean, I had that problem years ago, but it was after, you know, if you had a plant sitting in the same pot for a couple of years, it would do that. But I've never seen potting medium pack down the way it does nowadays. I don't know why that is, but it is. So it's good to go in and loosen it up, because again, and I know I've mentioned this in the past with my string of pearls, if you remember, not too long ago they were looking kind of peaked, and I was getting nervous, because that's a beautiful plant, and it's long, and I would be sick if it died. And my husband was noticing it. He said, or I said, there's something not right about that plant. I don't know what's going on. And he got up and went and looked at it, and he felt the dirt. He said, honey, the dirt is hard as a rock. I said, it is. So I took this and poked a bunch of holes down in the whole pot and watered it, and within a day it was perked. All my little pearls were round again instead of teardrop shaped. So that was what the problem was. And how that happens is the water, I don't know if you've ever seen like dried mud on the side of the road, like in a new subdivision. We used to have that a lot when I was a kid. And you know, it'll dry, and it'll have little ravines in it, you know, going down in through the mud. Well, when it rains, if you watch that, you can see how all the rain, you know, the water will always seek its lowest level. So if there's a little ravine in there, that's where the water's going to go. So anything that's on either side of that, if it were a plant waiting to get watered, wouldn't get watered because the water's not going to go there. Well, the same thing happens with these. If the soil gets too hard and compacted, it'll make its own way eventually because it's not waterproof. It's going to find the path of least resistance from here down to your drip tray. And that may end up only being one. It could be two or three. But if your roots don't happen to be in that path, they're not getting watered. And that's what happened with my string of pearls. So I am now making it a conscious habit to periodically go through with my, and these, by the way, you get like 100 of them for $1, I think they were. I bought them at Pick and Save quite a few years ago on an end cap, but they have them. And I think just about any store. These are just barbecue skewers, which I don't use for barbecuing because I don't like getting wooden slivers in my mouth. I use metal ones, but anyway, so that's what I use them for. And it's a good price, right? Okay, now I can take this tape off of here. I had some garden Velcro on this one because it was falling over. But I don't know what to do now. You see, there's no well, I guess I could cut it right about this leaf. Yeah, I think I will. Okay. I'm going to go right above this leaf. I want whatever I leave there, I want it to have a leaf on it, and it does. And look at it, it's separating. It's doing the work for me. I don't even have to think today. How precious is that? Okay. There, the sheathing just didn't come off, so it was stuck together. Alright. I'm going to go all the way down on this one, and I'm going to cut. And I'm going to make a hole. Well, let me give it some thought here. Alright, we'll put that one right here. Stick it all the way down now. It's going to be important to keep this evenly damp at all times, because remember, whenever you're rooting, well, I'm so sorry for my constantly clearing my throat here. I don't know what's going on. It must be the heat in my house. What was I saying? I don't remember. I hate that when that happens. My daughter sent me a funny this morning. Something about losing your train of thought, and train took off without me or something. Let me look it up, because it was pretty funny. Or the train left without me. I've reached an age where my train of thought often leaves the station without me. I know that's a common saying, and I know that I've heard it before and I've seen it before on cards, but I still laugh when I hear it because I think it's so true for so many people. Okay, now, I think that'll be good for this. I don't know. I wish you guys could talk to me while I'm doing this. I'd love to have another opinion. See, what I think what happens is the stem is not strong enough to hold up the foliage, because see how, can you see this, how wide this is getting, and it wants to lay down. So I have a choice here. I can either tie it back up with the garden Velcro, or I can trim this down and split it. And I think I'm going to tie it up because that sheathing on there is still pretty green, and I don't want to harm the plant by pulling that off too soon. So I'm going to just put my little, yeah, that's the other thing I use these for, folks. Come in so handy for support posts for little plants. Okay, how does that look? I think that's good. I hope you all agree. And I hope that this is going to spur her. I think I'm going to put a little fresh soil now. I did just put her in this pot not that long ago, so I don't think I want to bother changing the soil on her yet, just yet. Alright, and I'll try to get those names up there for you so you'll all know what this is. When I get done here, I'm going to be spraying this with my Captain Jacks, which is what I've been doing, my friends. I'm still really freaked out about the thrips, to be honest with you. I know that they can decimate your whole plant collection, and I have lost a few. So I'm really nervous about it. So what I'm doing is I'm going through my plants one at a time, and the ones that need attention right away, of course, I'm doing like this one, whatever I need to do to it, and then giving it a fresh spray with the Captain Jack's dead bug spray, because I don't know, I'm just hoping that that's gone. And like I said before, from now on, when I get a new plant in the house, it's going straight, it's coming in a plastic bag, and it's not getting out of that plastic bag for at least 10 days, and maybe even more. And it's going to go in my craft room in my west window so it gets good light, but it's not coming anywhere near my other plant collection. And I'm going to do that because that is what I used to do years ago, and I never had bug problems, so, or fungus or any of that, to be honest with you. That's all something new. Oh, you can still kind of see the residual on here. I think if you can see where it's dull in one spot and kind of white in another, I'm sure that's from when I sprayed the Captain Jacks. But that's alright, I'm going to give it another spray just to be on the safe side. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. All right. And this, my husband brought this home for me. This, it's not a matching set, but it's close enough. And these two are these two plants both have to be repotted here. This is my Ruby Cascade. I got both of these actually. I got from Suzette, from Suzette's garden. Suzette and I have been friends for a couple of years. We met over YouTube, and when in the in the first part of our friendship, she was doing a lot of new things with her plants and cuttings and getting bigger plants and getting rid of some, and there were a lot of plants that she had that I didn't, and I'd never asked her for them. I didn't want to put her on the spot. She just took it upon herself to make cuttings for me, and in the spring she sent me this big, huge box, and she did that twice, 2 different years. So if you're new to my channel and you want to see what I got from her, those are some pretty neat videos because they're long and they've got a lot of plants in them. So a lot of this stuff is from Suzette, and I just wanted to give her a shout out. Her channel is Suzette's Gardens, and she's been on YouTube for a long time, many years. She started out with her orchids, and then people wanted to see her plants, other plants that were in the background, so she started a YouTube. She started including her other plants as well. Okay. So this is my Ruby Cascade. Look at that. I will help if I get my hand out of the way. This plant is in my kitchen, in front of my sink, on my windowsill, on the top part of my windowsill. And I haven't wanted to move it because it's doing so well there. But it has to get moved because it's drying out way too fast, and I don't have enough space up there for this next size pot. So but I gotta do it. I have to find another place for it. But I want it to be somewhere where I'll see it every day. Once you see this, because I don't want it to dry out on me and die. Now I'm going to pull this apart a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that it was a good height. I'm going to move that camera down a little bit. I don't think you can see what I'm doing. It's deceiving. When I look from the back of the camera, it's right where I want it to be. But then when I sit, it's not where I want it to be. Okay. That's what I wanted. Okay. So I'm just going to take this apart a little bit. Loosen this up. I don't want to disrupt it too much because, oh, that's just what I didn't want to do. Daggone it. Okay, well, it is what it is. Although I don't see any roots in there, so that's good. Alright. I think I'm going to take my little poker here. I'm just trying to loosen this up a little because it's very hard. And I know some of you are saying, "Ow, ow, you're poking me." That's what I feel like when I do this. Look at, oh yeah, I just lost a big long root. Alright, I have to stop. I have to stop. Let's just get her in the pot before I do any more damage. Alright. I have a smaller scooper, but if the truth be known, I'm too lazy to get up and get it and dig it out. And I apologize for that, but yeah, I think we've all been there. We had near 50 degrees here yesterday in southeastern Wisconsin. I actually went out and sat on the porch for a little while and got some sun and watched my husband cut up all that tree that he cut down. That's a lot of work for one guy. I felt so bad. I wanted to help him. I wanted to just get up and go get the wheelbarrow and start picking up the smaller stuff and do what I would normally do. And because of my health, I can't. And it's really frustrating. Okay. I'm just going to get that out of here so it don't end up on the floor. There. I hope you could see that. I really need to figure out this camera, huh? Okay. Now inside here, I have some stones in the bottom because otherwise she would sink down so far I wouldn't get her out. So or maybe it's one big stone, I think. And I got lucky and found a pot that fits inside of here that it's not going to go all the way down to the bottom. And I just thought she was so perfect for this. There. Oops. There. There. Now, isn't that just the prettiest thing? This dainty little plant in a dainty little sugar. I think I might have called this a creamer on the last video. It's not a creamer. Creamers don't have two hands. So, what do you think? I like it. So I'm going to find a spot where I'm going to see this all the time, not just when I get up and go check my plants, but where I can't help but notice it all the time. That's probably going to be my living room somewhere, so we'll see. Okay, move her out of the way. And of course, anything as dainty as that has got to be a her, right? Okay, and this is a Variegated Dischidia. Now, I gotta talk about this plant for a minute because I see these on YouTube all the time, and they're big, and they're full, and they're gorgeous. And I've had this for so long, it almost died on me, the cutting that I got. I managed to keep it alive, and then I started getting new growth, and then it just kind of sat there. Now, my guess is that it's probably not getting watered as often as it should, but because it's got succulent leaves, I'm very afraid to overwater this. So I tend to err on the other side, and I think that might be part of the problem. I'm going to snip this right above this leaf because this looks dried out on the end here. And I'm going to put it in here, inside of here. It's a little bit bigger pot, so she doesn't want to come out of there. Take the flat end. There we go. And out she came. I'm not going to even mess with this one. I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to take her just as she is and shove her in this pot. There's a little fresh soil on the bottom. Oh yeah, look. Look at the roots. So, what's the problem here, my friend? Why aren't you growing? Although I mean, she has grown some, just, I guess not as much as I'd like her to. Slow growing. I get very impatient with slow growing plants. I think that's why I'm not real big into cacti, because so many of them take so long to give you the reward, the fruits of your labor. I mean, to me, it would be kind of like, I know I do this a lot, don't I? I compare my plants to my kids. And they're kind of like your kids. I mean, you got to feed them and change them and take care of them and make sure they're getting proper nutrition and rest and light and whatever. But anyways, trying to get her down in there. I apologize. I'm deep in thought here. This doesn't want to go in, and it's there. Alright, well, it's okay. You don't want to go there, we'll put you next to there. hard for me to maneuver these little tiny plants. Okay. I think we got her, by golly. Reminds me of my great-grandson. My granddaughter used to watch, we used to watch all the Heidi movies when she was little. And one of the movies was where the butler was there scratching his head, and there was all this chaos, and this monkey was flying all over the house. And I don't remember the whole scene or why it was, but he took his hand and put it on top of his head and scratched his head and said, "By golly, I think I've got it." And my granddaughter said that, and I cracked up laughing. Well, now her son is my great-grandson, and although he didn't see the movie, my husband, his grandpa, said that one day when they were working on something. "By golly, I think you've got it." And then I did that with the English accent, and we laughed so hard. Yeah, I guess you had to be there, but it was one of those moments of joy for us. So, "By golly, I think you've got it." Well, then he picked up on that, so of course he had to use it a lot, and he never wore it out. Every time he did that, we laughed. So, it gave us some good memories. Okay, these got to get washed. As you know, I do not like dirty pots. I always wash them before I use them, and not always right away after I'm done, because I wash them separately. I don't wash them with my dishes or my dish towels or anything. So, okay. Alright, I told you guys this was going to be a long video. I hope you're still with me. I know when I look at my analytics, I see a lot of times people drop off after, 15, 20 minutes, and sometimes even sooner, and I get it. Sometimes people are busy, or maybe they saw what they came to see, or they just plain don't like it, and, to each his own. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I know that there's, I've watched videos where I thought I was going to like it, and halfway through I was like, and I wanted to go on to the next one, so I get it. But for those of you that keep telling me you like long videos, I hope you stick with it till the end. Okay. Now, this I'm debating, and this, of course, is a Philodendron Brazil, and this one too got neglected, as did many plants in this back room. But these were actually just cuttings that I took from my mother plant. And that plant is huge. So I wanted to take some cuttings for my girls, my granddaughters, and my daughter. And I wanted to make some more for myself, because I really love this plant. And I can have it in more than one room. They're very easy to grow. I mean, you can just pretty much ignore them, and they will still reward you with new growth. Now, obviously, the better care you give them, the more growth you're going to get. So, okay, I think what I want to do here is make this a little fuller. That's the reason I brought it down. I could leave it like this. It's pretty, and I love the look of how this is here. I love the stand. My husband brought this home for me too. It's another find. And it would be nice, but I think what I want to do is take a cutting and stick it back in the soil and get this fuller at the top here. See how bare that is? We want some more coming out of there, so can you just picture this being all big and bushy up here? I can. Okay. So I'm just going to I'm not going to do anything real drastic. I don't think. Never know with me. Okay. I think here. You always have to keep in mind, when you cut these, they're going to bush out there. And I don't want it to be stringy and then have this big clump. But because I'm putting more in the top of here, it's going to cascade it down. It'll cover that up. But I don't think I want to go with it. I would otherwise do it right here. But I don't know. Should I? No. Because then it's going to look like this. I mean, this is what's going to happen. It's going to bush out down here instead of up here. No, I wanted to do it up here. I made up my mind. Okay, I'm going to cut it on an angle. Now this, I think, well, I don't really need it. I've got my rooting powder here, but honestly, these are such fast growers and easy propagators, I don't think I even need it. I'm just going to put my hole in there. And stick her down in there. And push the soil down. Pack it down a little bit around her. Well, I'm really tempted to cut that off, but I won't. We'll wait and see what happens with that one. And here again, I mean, I think we want them to all bush out about the same, in about the same spot. And I am going to cut these, at least one of the bottom leaves off, because that's where the new growth is going to come out at that node. And we don't want the leaves sitting in the soil either, so I'm going to stick that right back in here. I know I'm getting long here on this video, aren't I? Well, there's only one more after this one, so, and that won't take long. Okay, this one I'm going to cut all the way up here. I'm going to be brave and just do it on an angle. And we're going to stick it in the soil. And she really is going to be much better off for it in the end. And you can root these in water too. They root up very, very easily and very fast. And alright, and we got two more, I think, here. I waited so long for her to finally cascade down the side. It's killing me to have to do this, but I know it's for her own good. And we're in the right time of year where she's going to replenish herself very quickly. I think we need a little more. She's going to grow back what we cut off. She's going to probably triple in size here, if not more, through the summer months. So I'm not too worried. And I found that she does not like very bright light, which surprises me, but it's true. And this isn't serving any purpose. Huh. Well, I don't know. It's got a little note on it, but it doesn't have a leaf, so I don't think it's going to do anything, but we'll stick her back in. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the lighting. I had this plant in a couple different spots as well. And she did not do well until I took her out of the light. And then she really took off. So I'm just telling you how it's working for me. I would say a low to medium light plant this is. At least that's what I have found to be the case. And I think on my older intros, you can see the mother plant. She's about 2.5, 3 feet wide, and probably maybe a foot tall. And she's in a very low light, so, and I hardly ever water her. That's another one that doesn't like a lot of water. This is a lot like the Mandula, folks. This is, yesterday I did or the day before, I don't remember, I did a video on the pothos, my Mandula and my Marble Queen and my Pearls and Jade. And all three of those plants seem to do better in lower light, especially the Mandula. That one, if you want to hear more about it, watch the video from yesterday, but that one was really a mind-boggling to me, and now that I know what it was trying to tell me, I'm taking better care of it. So, but that one too really surprised me, that it needed such low light. It just, I don't know. Alright, we're done here with this one. I mean, that keeps wanting to come out, so we're going to take them out. Alright, what do you think? That's not too nuts about this, but could get some growth from here. If not, we'll just keep an eye out, and if not, I can always cut it off later. But I think we're going to leave that for now, okay? Alright. And last but not least, I have to go get it. Well, I have to grab it. It's around the table here. Just bear with me a moment. Alrighty, and I am back for the finale. Here she is. My absolutely gorgeous Micans. And again, this is from my friend Suzette. She started this for me last winter. She started it in fall and wanted it on the soil and made it thick and nice, and then sent it to me. And look at it now, Susie. It's, I mean, when it's hanging up, it's about 4 feet long, maybe more. I'm going to be putting this in a different spot. I had this in my south window, and it liked it, and I liked how it was turning red. I am absolutely in love with this plant and the color and the texture. It's so, if you don't own one and you're a plant lover, you really owe it to yourself to add this to your collection. They're just, and I know that the camera is not doing it justice. And one of the issues that I'm having right now is when I got that outbreak of thrips, this did get attacked. And I'm surprised because these are not normally very pest magnets. You know, they're pretty much not prone to certain things. They get things once in a while. They'll get mealybugs and might get spider mites, but I've never seen it. I've never had anything on any of my Hartley philodendron type plants. And I know this is the Micans. This isn't the actual heartleaf, but it's very close. And honestly, I don't know what to do because I didn't want to take it out of the window. I just didn't. I wanted to leave it there, and I wanted to raise it up higher and let it grow to the ground and let it just sprawl all over and go wherever it wants to go. But I knew that it was just a matter of time. And now that we're going into summer, and that sun's going to get even hotter, so I just made up my mind I'm going to have to do it. So I sprayed her really good with my Captain Jack's Dead Bug, and I'm hoping that I finally got to the end of the thrips with this one. And right now I'm going to put her in a bigger pot. This is going to be the end of our video, by the way. We're already gone so long. Let me just get this part done, and then you can just now, as always, we gotta squeeze the pot. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try to loosen up those roots a little bit. And then we're going to tilt it and hope it comes out. And very often it doesn't, but we're going to try. Nope. Not this time. Okay. I'm going to take my skewer, because that's what I have handy. And I'm just going around the edge, the very edge of the pot. And I apologize, I forget that there's many people that are just starting out with plants, and they need to see the details of what I'm doing here. And I've done them for so many years that sometimes I forget, you know. All right. I gotta stand up to do this. Okay. That's gonna be a little easier. Wow. She is really in there. What are you hanging on to in there? Well, this is sure to cause a little setback here. Oh yeah, I can feel the roots pulling, ripping. And boy, did I just make a mess. Okay. That's alright. Oh yeah, look at that. And they were getting caught in those drainage holes down there. Boy, oh boy. Okay. I'd love to take all the soil off of here just because of that thrip issue, but she's been through a lot, and I don't want to put her through that kind of a shock. So I think we're going to leave it as it is. And we're going to put her in her new pot. And she could probably use, I think, a little more. A little more on the bottom. Whew. And that would be the perlite dust, and that is certainly not a good thing to be breathing in. Okay. I'm going to use my big Folgers scooper here because this is a big pot. We gotta fill up. And we're running out of time. Even for people who like long videos, right? It's getting a little ridiculous. So, okay. All right, here we go. That's pretty much it for her. I'm going to clean this up, and I'll give you an overall view, and then we'll be calling it a day. One moment.